Good morning and welcome to another installment of Lessons with yours truly. I'm your host, as always, Mr. Lagos. Take you through this lesson, Julius Caesar Part 2. We saw Julius Caesar rise to power in Part 1. Now we're going to see what he does here in Part 2. Alright, let's look at our learning objective. Describe how Julius Caesar rose to power in Rome. I think it's the same objective as last time. What's the word? What's the good word, bird? Oh, I need my pen, my chubby pencil. Let me get my paper. The name is Julius Caesar. Alright, so let's continue here. Blah, blah, blah. Summary questions already done for you. You just need to underline. What were the 3 events that led Caesar to become dictator? Yeah, that word dictator. That means sole ruler or the only ruler, one ruler. That's all that means. All right, let's erase. Next one. All right, concept development. Conflict with an ally. At the end of the fighting in Gaul, remember Gaul was the area north of Rome, Caesar was one of the most powerful men in the Roman Republic. He was so powerful that even his friends were jealous and afraid of him. This jealousy and fear changed Caesar's relationship with Pompey. That's actually background information. We know that already. We know his friends became jealous of him. The word here is fighting, I believe. The end of the fighting. And that's it. Let's look at our question. Why did Caesar's friends become jealous and afraid of him? Okay. Next. Next paragraph. In 50 BC, Pompey's allies in the Senate ordered Caesar to give up command of his armies and return to Rome. Caesar refused. He knew that Pompey was trying to take power away from him and would arrest him if he gave up his command. As a result, Caesar led his army into Italy. In 49 BC, Caesar and his troops crossed the Rubicon River, the boundary between Gaul and Italy. So there was this thing, you're not supposed to cross this river, and anybody who crossed, any Roman general who crossed that river without permission was considered like a hostile enemy almost. Let's see here. As a result, Caesar led his army. Led his army is the term you want. And let's look at the question. Why did Caesar lead his army into Italy? Okay. All right, this is not on your paper, but it's just a little history for you here. This is a column that is still standing in Rome today that was built to kind of commemorate how Caesar came into Rome and started a civil war, basically. All right, next paragraph. Because Roman law said that no general could enter Italy with his army, Pompey and the Senate considered Caesar's return to Italy a sign of war. Afraid that Caesar would attack him, Pompey and his allies fled Italy. They didn't think they had enough troops to defeat Caesar. All right, so here comes Caesar. He crosses the Rubicon River. Pompey and the Senate say, wait a minute, he can't do that. So they see that as a hostile sign of war. And Pompey leaves because he doesn't think that he can beat Caesar. And in reality, he probably couldn't. Caesar had a lot of troops with him. Let's see, a sign of war, I believe it is what we're looking for. There it is. Okay, let's look at the question. Why did Pompey leave Italy? I think I gave that one away. All right, next paragraph. Caesar and his army chased Pompey's forces around the Mediterranean for a year. Eventually, they drove Pompey into Egypt, where he was killed. There, Caesar met Cleopatra, whom he made queen. As queen, Cleopatra became his new ally. If we don't know what ally means like a friend, basically. If somebody attacks, let's say you're allies with somebody attacks you, your ally should come and help you. That's the idea, anyway. Let's see. There, Caesar met Cleopatra is the term we want. Cleopatra is an interesting historical figure in her own right. We'll learn a little bit more about her later. Question. What happened to Pompey? Poor guy. All right, let's go to the last paragraph. Before we go to the last paragraph, so we know Pompey was killed, and this is a drawing showing or trying to depict how Caesar took the news that Pompey had been killed. I mean, Caesar knew that it had to be done, but I guess he didn't like it, you could say. He certainly didn't want to see the head of Pompey, as you can see here. Here's the head of Pompey, cut off and shown to Caesar as proof that, yeah, we got him, he's dead. Caesar, you can see, he's looking away, kind of distraught. Because, I mean, they were friends before. You gotta understand that. It's kind of weird. It's like you're friends before, now you're killing him, but that's the way it worked. That was power, that was Rome, that was ancient times. Here we have, it's just a picture of Cleopatra. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be Caesar here in the background. Here. But, yeah, this is Cleopatra. Nice painting. Anyway, there's nothing written there. Okay, here we go. Last paragraph. Down at the bottom of your paper. Caesar returned to Rome. When he got there, he forced the Senate to name him dictator for 10 years. There's that word again, dictator. Later, this term was extended and Caesar became dictator for life. That's a long time. So Rome is our word, just so we don't forget what we're talking about here. Question is, how did Caesar become dictator? All right. So let's move on to the skill development. Turn your page over. Julius Caesar Part 2 continued. Using the text from the previous page, fill in the boxes with the events in the correct order that made Caesar dictator in Rome. So there are 3 events that made him dictator in Rome. Arguably, there could be more, but we're going to just do 3. That helped Caesar come to power and become dictator in Rome. So we saw the last one, right? If you answered the last question, that would go here in event 3. Do it as a bullet point. So yeah, I guess we could draw bullet points here in each column. So what you want to do is go back and reread to see what the events were. You already got one down, so try to find the previous 2. So the best thing is to go backwards. Instead of starting at the top of your page in concept development, go backwards. And you could see the events that way. Okay, let's say you're done with that. Let's go to the next one. Skill development part 2. This is one of those, like, you put yourself in their shoes, kind of get a different perspective, different angle of view. If you were Pompey, let's pretend, what would you have done differently and why? Right, so let's look at review some of the things Pompey did. Right, Pompey he declared Caesar's act a sign of war. And then, well, first, actually, he became jealous of Caesar. And then he declared Caesar an enemy. And then he fled Rome. Right. So those are three things he did. So what would you have done differently if you were him, and why? So just a couple of sentences on that. And when you're done with that, don't forget to answer the summary question below. A lot of you are not answering that summary question, so you're missing a point. So this lesson is 4 points. If you don't do the summary, you can only get 3. 3 divided by 4 is 0.75. 0.75 times 100 is 75%. And that would be a C. So just do the summary question. Your C becomes an A. That's how it's done. All right. See you next time. Take care, everybody.